Hey everybody, Shawn here from theautomationblog.com, and in this episode of the Automation Podcast, I get back together with Ramey Miller from Siemens, but this time we're going over their brand new line of unified comfort panels.
Ramey, thank you for putting this together. I'm really looking forward to learning about the new SIMATIC Unified Comfort Panels.
Thank you, Shawn. It's great to be here again. I look forward to talking about the Unified Comfort panels that we've recently released and some of the highlights and features of it. So just to bring everyone to the baseline, we've had these for a while now, the basic HMIs, our standard comfort panels, and then the standard moves into the advanced HMI solution set that are all engineered within TI Portal. And we've talked about the basic panels previously, and what we're doing is we've introduced this new unified comfort panel, and this panel is a new parallel product that overlies the existing portfolio that we have today. So at no point is it a direct replacement immediately today, but over the next few years, we're going to see this one become the new dominant panel offering that we have for the advanced solutions. And where does this fit in the product portfolio within TI Portal is, from a system performance stand, the unified comfort panels are outperforming the standard comfort panels, and we've got some information a little bit later I'll share with you to help show why, and we say that this is a outperformer from a systems core aspect. And then from an application complexity standpoint, it also is bridging this gap and expanding further into more complex applications with the unified systems that our current portfolio is capable of doing, but you may have had to do it in the past with a PC-based solution. We're trying to pull a lot more of that complexity into the panel level, and the WinCC Unified Comfort Panel actually is a solid platform for that kind of higher application complexity. When we went to develop this new panel and this new platform, we really wanted to address some key areas and make sure that the human-machine interface that's changing as we know it today was able to address some core components and capabilities in the marketplace. Some of these areas were an area of increased production data. We've seen a drastic increased amount of data at the production level that needs to be able to be handled and processed by the human-machine interface. So we needed to make sure we had that solid core platform for that increase of production data. We also saw that there was an increased number of devices that were connected as well to systems. So making sure our connection capabilities were there. And then we tried to project and look out into future scenarios and future interaction scenarios that the HMI may encounter. And we want to make sure that the platform was stable enough and strong enough to be able to handle these types of scenarios. Some of these scenarios actually include things like virtual reality or augmented reality. We needed to make sure that the platform was very much set up in the capabilities to handle that kind of interaction in the future. And if we wanted to master these changes, we really had to figure out how were we going to address or deal with those types of increased performance enhancements. And in the areas that we wanted to really focus in on, we knew that we needed to deal with things like web technology, better data backbone, cloud connectivity, and again, keeping it all in one engineering platform, on-premise, off-premise type of information gathering and access. So we really needed to make sure that we had a portfolio and a interface, a software set that could help address these things. And these topics all help define the requirements for this HMI systems that we defined for the next decade, being the WinCC unified system. And again, we met all of those requirements. We felt that we met all these requirements with the new WinCC unified system. And how did we do this? How do we feel that we had accomplished these? Was first in the area of technology. There was a need to support web technologies natively, and that was very important to us. So we wanted to make sure that this was addressed, and this led to us being able to support HTML5 natively. We wanted to be able to support scalable vector graphics or SVGs. And we also adapted JavaScript as the primary scripting language within these panels in the PC systems. We worked really hard to make this more of an object-oriented HMI overall. And then next was the area of addressing scalability. Siemens wanted to continue to have that one engineering platform to support the different products. May it be the Unified Comfort Panel or the WinCC PC, with the runtime on it, the ease to scale between these devices as projects evolve was very important to us to maintain. And this also led to a better collaboration between these devices as well, which again, we'll talk about some of the collaboration, but being able to scale and all of that capability led to a much easier scalability and collaboration effort between both panel and PC solutions. And then there's also been an increased need for access everywhere. People really want to be able to get their data, get their information, and gain that information everywhere. And we understood that this was very important. So we had to improve on the on-premise access, and then also make improvements to cloud and edge level access as well. And this was important for both MindSphere apps and other edge apps. The WinCC unified system was developed to communicate and have communication in mind. And lastly, addressing the topic of everything else. WinCC unified systems are the basis of digitalization, with the increased plant intelligence options and solid platforms for integrating everything north of the PLC. One way this was accomplished was through openness, both in the engineering and during the runtime. The ability for that openness and ability to improve upon things with this other open integration was very important for us to have. And this all combined to be that leading edge product portfolio within TI Portal. So everything that you get from having the PLCs in the project, the HMIs and other drives, all of that interconnectivity is capable with the unified systems. Now, we wanted to make sure that we had that great user experience, and no matter where you were, either on the panel or on a PC system or even on a remote device, we really needed to make sure that these technologies that I mentioned before really worked with that user experience. And this is really due in part being based on web technologies. The HTML5, the scalable vector graphics, the JavaScript, by utilizing these components, a lightweight user interface for all the possibilities are now possible with our systems with the unified comforts. And we also had to, again, keep in mind that access from everywhere. And with this modern web browser capability and support, there's no more need to install extra plugins, which also means easier access from mobile devices. You don't need to install other overhead hardware or software into your systems or onto other remote access systems to gain access to the screens. It's now all, since it's all based on a web page, you can now pass certificates and be good to go and have access to these devices remotely. And when it comes to customization, yes, we've got a lot of control objects and things built in like scalable vector graphics, dynamic scalable vector graphics. We also have the capability of supporting web controls. And all these things all help make that HMI stand out as a reflection of what your system's capable of doing. So these are there's a lot of customization capabilities within the custom web controls and the dynamic SVGs that are all supported with this. Providing an overview again, this is all within that one TIA portal starting at V16. The Unified Comfort Panels are something that was brought in with the V16 release and will be supported moving forward into future releases. But that, again, provides that one common engineering platform from panel to the PC level, all within TIA portal. From a physical standpoint, the hardware panels themselves, the Unified Comfort Panels, we've got 6 variants. And this ranges from a 7-inch display all the way up into a 22-inch screen size. And again, these have the same level of power and performance, no matter if you're at the 7 or the 22. So you've got the same engine or performance CPU running in the back of all of these with the same memory level. And so you're no longer restricted from a project that was developed in a large panel. If you move it to a smaller one, you still can perform at that same level of operation. And to break down these 6 variants a little bit more, we've got the 7-inch, a 10-inch, a 12-inch, a 15-inch, a 19-inch, and a 22-inch screen size. all with the multi-touch glass front interface with an anti-reflective glare protection for your installations. Flipping the box around to the back side, let's take a look at some of the connectivity that we've got on these. Again, standard from 7 to 22, we've got 2-port Profinet switches built into every one of these devices. And that's the 2 ports shown there. That shares one IP address. This is typically your network of the tool itself. This allows you to put this panel in line with other devices, other I/O, and other PLCs in line and not have to be a dead-end run on your network. Then in addition to that 2-port Profinet switch, we've got a single Ethernet port switch that also can be run at the 1 gigabit rate, but that is a separate NIC card, a separate IP address, and this one's typically used to get out to your other, your site, your actual plant level for third party, or your other connection for report generation, or you could even use it for a dedicated engineering port to plug into to download updates or get connectivity to the panels for other maintenance purposes. In addition to the network ports that we've got on here, we've also got a serial port that's a 422, 485, and this is really designed for that third-party PLC communication. So it's a serial port for communication to third-party PLCs. We've got 4 USB 3.0 ports. Now, these are all ports that are very flexible in operation. These ports are capable of having other hardware plugged into them, printers, barcode scanners, but you could also use them for additional data storage with USB sticks for memory for logging data to from your project. And speaking of the data logging and additional memory storage, we've got 2 SD card slots built into all these panels. One is a dedicated data card slot that, again, is used for the logs and customer data files that you want to store to have access to during runtime. You can map to it. You can also store your logs to the data card. And then in addition to that, we've got a dedicated system card slot that utilizes a Siemens SD card. And its primary purpose is to be an active backup during runtime. So this gives you that running backup during runtime of your panel, so that if something was to happen to this unit, you could take that card out, drop it into a new one out of the box, and restore to that image and get right up to that minute of the failure of the unit that had an issue to it. So a dedicated system card slot, a dedicated data card slot. And then we do have reset buttons built into these for factory reset to default, but it's not just an easy press this button and the system's going to blow off the project that you've got. It does take a multi-step procedure that is outlined in the manuals. So keep in mind it's there for use, but it would be a technician or an engineer that really understands the process, because it's more than just the button interface. It takes more steps to default these things back to the manufacturer's default on these. But we do have that for increased flexibility for installations and stuff. Now, taking a look at a couple of the highlights that we've got on these panels, we've got, again, the new standard is this capacitive multi-touch technology on all of the frame sizes with the brilliant color display, multi-point gesture detection, all capable from the 7 to the 22-inch screen size. And as we're speaking about the size doesn't matter anymore. We can do that same functionality. You've got the same power and performance from 7 to 22-inch in screen size. And again, the power to do more, we've increased those limits. We've risen the bar on how many tags, how many connections, how many scripts you can have. A lot of these system limits have been increased drastically on these new Unified Comfort panels. Now, if the panel itself, if your engineering environment, if you feel like you're not able to do everything you need to do with the program at hand, you can always add an app. So these all are Siemens Industrial Edge apps. These are able to have an app developed external to the TI portal and loaded to this project and loaded to the panel itself to extend your standard functionality with these apps. These apps are typically developed with a ODK external and then used with Dockers and put onto these panels. And this allows for much increased flexibility for your report generation, other data mining or gathering, so really an ability to expand from your standard runtime operation and add more functionality to these devices in general. From a security standpoint, we still have a lot of access control built into these. We've got our user management system built into both the runtime, and that transfers down to the control panel level. So if the runtime was actually to be stopped, the user management levels of the operators to technicians to admins, all of that user level can be projected down to the control panel level of these panels to keep people out from certain core setups of these units, to keep from breakages in the field or from changing configuration on it to essentially make the device not function the way it should be. So that security level access control, everything from runtime to control panel. We still have encrypted communication capabilities as well. We also have the encrypted download capabilities. You can password protect your project from being downloaded upon from another party. So you can prevent somebody from overwriting a project that you've put in the field or onto that device, so you can have that control. And then we've also got security patches and everything else that's built into these as well. And again, all that's built into operate and be commissioned all through TIA portal. So we don't have to have IT management to set up the network cards on these. All that gets configured into the device configuration into the project, and you can get all that all set up through TIA portal itself. As mentioned before, we wanted to make sure we were projecting and having that solid platform for the future. And so we've got that user interface, that modern user interface with the openness and the full scalability, all designed within WinCC Unified for the next generation, for the next decade of panel implementation. And for those that are familiar with it, the standard comfort panels that we've had out for multiple years now, that core DNA, which I'll touch base on some of that DNA here in a minute, the core DNA that we've all become used to, like the automatic system backups, that still remains in the heart of these unified comfort panels. And what we've done is we've just taken that and we've expanded drastically on that core DNA to make it a more functional and more flexible platform moving forward. Now, talking about some of the DNA and the core functionality that we've got, we like to break it down into, from a functionality aspect, the things that work from the panel level to the PC level within the WinCC Unified solution. We've got what we call a WinCC Unified core functionality. And that functionality is always going to be there and always configurable where it is either on the unified panel or on a PC running the WinCC Unified PC solution and a runtime environment. We also have the unified basic options that also span that same level of platform to accommodate for application sizes of what we'd consider smaller application sizes to the larger application sizes. The basic options fall across that entire portfolio. And it's only in the higher end functionality where we really start talking into the SCADA level, the true high end, very large SCADA applications. Do we step into the PC world and look at the WinCC Unified Software SCADA options or the WinCC Plant Intelligent options, Unified Plant Intelligent options? These are things that apply to and require a PC to run. So those things, from a functionality standpoint, we've sort of separated those objects and control pieces off into that world of the PC level. But for us on the Unified Comfort panels today, we're focusing more on the unified core functionality and the unified basic operation options that we've got available. A lot of the core functionality, again, this is that heart, that core DNA that we've had from the standard panels moving into the unified comfort panels. We've got that user interface scalable for all the devices from 7 to 22. We've got connectivity across the board. We've got alarming as well, which means that we've got that system alarming, that diagnostics capabilities from connection to our PLCs and the data alarm messaging and everything that we've all become accustomed to. All of that is still functional and moving forward with future plans of some enhancements on that as well, moving forward into with the unified comforts. Now, from a reporting standpoint and what we call technological hierarchy, where it's a modular, more standardized machine or a plant concept, those are some more things that we've already got functional in the V16 release of WinCC Unified for the PC runtime. But from a Unified Comfort Panel, these two things, reporting and technological hierarchy, they are still in development and they should be becoming implemented in a later release, like a V17. But these will be a full functional, so you can port from panel to runtime and back and forth, and then gain all the access and the power of all those. And again, things like the user administration, the local user management for access control, both on the runtime and the control panel level, that's that core DNA that transcends from both the panel level up to the PC runtime. So we've got a lot of these core functionalities that's part of that makes that DNA of the comfort world, and we've just continued to improve upon that and make it more scalable across the platforms. Moving on to the basic options within WinCC Unified, keep in mind this is all V16 level released today. We've got the file-based logging and parameter control. Now, parameter control also goes by another name within our systems and what we may have used in the past. Parameter control is also referred to as recipes. So if you've got recipe handling or batch recipes or batching, parameter control is what we refer to as that handling of the production data, and that database collection of information is within our parameter control. And again, that's all part of the Unified Comfort Panels and the runtimes as well. We've got client capabilities with the PC side, collaboration on the PC side, and collaboration in clients is becoming more flexible and continuing to be developed further with the Unified Comfort Panels. So we're going to see a lot of improvements with that coming up in the next release of V17. But this flexible web-based access from the client aspect right now, remote monitoring is more of a synchronous type of operation. We will be looking to implement more of an asynchronous type of control to panels, so the remote user can be viewing other screens separate from the operator itself. So we've still got a fair amount more of improvements to be doing to these panels and to the runtime itself. But right now in the core, the initial release in the V16 is still a very capable and very powerful unit to be developed with. I mentioned the system increase in performances, and this is just, I wanted to really show how much we improved upon our system performances. Connections on the standard comfort panels that we had for the last 8 years plus has been an 8 connection resource. We've now doubled that to 16. Our tag counts, again, we're a 4,000 tag count. We're now up to 8,000 tags capable of being configured on the panels. And then from a scripting standpoint, we've gone from 200 scripts to 600 scripts being capable of running on these panels. Now that's a very drastic improvement, but to note on the scripting as well, I mentioned it earlier, we've gone from, we've adapted to the JavaScript. The standard comfort panels that have been running for the last multiple years, those have been based on a VB script implementation. And what we've gone to now is we've adapted to these new units, the Unified Comfort Panels, all within WinCC Unified. We've now adapted the JavaScript capability and the power that we get with JavaScript. So we've got full object and control and device access now. So you're not getting an abbreviated tag structure or tag elements or property elements. You get the full power and capabilities of JavaScripting within the panels. Now, just because I mentioned JavaScripting as a nice big benefit that we've got now, doesn't mean that everything has to be done with JavaScript. You still, again, we're within TI Portal. We've got a lot of drag and drop, a lot of just property menu selections from the property windows on objects. You can, everything is not scripted. Scripting is more of an optional and more for some more advanced configurations or functionality that you may want to achieve. But everything that can be done with scripting, there's a good chance you're going to be able to do that without having to even learn scripting at all. I've done a couple of projects myself and looked at some of these things, and you don't have to be a scripting expert to develop a project and execute with the Unified Comfort Panels. Now we've got a lot of power and a lot of performance within TI Portal and the graphical objects. How else have we improved upon it? I mentioned applications. we've installed some new system applications built into these units that come along with every one of these panels. Now, these panels all are pre-installed with a new user web browser. We're using Chrome browser, Google Chrome as the browser on these panels. So when you want to bring up a web page, you're going to be able to bring up all the objects and utilize the power of the pages and be able to display all the types of objects that have been configured in that web page. So we've improved on our browser. We've also improved on the media player to be a VLC media player installed on every one of these. So now you can have a video that may be a tutorial, or maybe it's showing what an operation should be looking like on your system. You can play that video so the operator can get a really good sense of, okay, that's what a good one looks like. If I'm seeing a bad one, maybe my system's not running the same way as on the screen, so I need to figure out where I need to tweak out the system. So a good media player put into it. We also put LibreOffice on all of these panels. Now, what does that give us? That gives us a better report generation capabilities. You can have your spreadsheets created with charts in them, with graphs in them. You can put the tag, you can link your tags for your report generation right into the right ports of these cells, and you're not restricted to just a comma delimited file now for your report generation or your login information. You can be pulling that right into a document that is supported with LibreOffice that you can then bring up and have a lot better display and viewing, easier viewing capabilities for your reports. And then from a PDF viewer standpoint, we've got our fully functional ocular viewing program on here. This allows that PDF that may have hyperlinks built into it to say, I need technical specs based on this, like it's a manual for the panel itself. I needed to see the appendix on it, so that's on page 324. I'm going to click on the link and it's going to jump me right down to it. So we're getting all that full functional, easy usability from a PDF that we really have gotten used to on our systems. We now have that capability within the panels themselves too, with the use of Ocular. Now, if the pre-installed apps aren't enough, or you want to do more, that's where the Unified Comfort panels really start to stand apart from the rest of our portfolio, is these are full edge supported and edge devices, which means that we can have an edge app and it has that edge runtime capability. So you can develop a third-party app to run on the edge, or Siemens has developed a couple of core ones, and we continue to develop some other core ones to help accomplish some other external tasks beyond what your program may be doing during runtime. One of these apps is the MQTT app, and this is primarily used for cloud connection. MQTT is a very common protocol that's used to connect systems, automation equipment from a system level up to a cloud-based system like MindSphere. And what this MQTT does is it allows you to connect your tags from the runtime and pushes those into, essentially acts like a gateway, and then connects out to your MindSphere, your cloud connection, and pushes the data up in there for reporting or anything else that you need to be doing with it. Another one that we have is a SIMATIC flow creator. This is a data processing. This allows data processing and event triggering to be external from your runtime. So what this app does is it helps you define a data flow and create your rules, your KPIs, your triggers and actions. And then if those thresholds that you set up are exceeded or a special event happens, this app helps set up what needs to happen next. What alarm event, or do you need to set up another alarm to trigger into the system that can be displayed during runtime, or do you need to set up another notification or email to go out? That's where the system flow creator can really come in and help add another layer of reporting and generation of information external to the runtime, and be done to be done independently of the actual runtime itself. So all these can be updated and not affect the runtime operation of the panel itself. And then the last one I like to mention is the SIMATIC Notifier app. This is a mobile notification app that we've got from Siemens that helps transform the Unified Comfort panel into a messaging service. Now this messaging service then would be able to take the tags, monitor them, and say, I've got an alarm tag that happened on this local system. The SIMATIC Notifier app triggers on that event and sends it up to the notifier server system on your network, And that one then would be configured with the rules of engagement of saying, I need to send out to smart device, smartwatch, or technician ABC's smartwatch or smartphone, and send them a notification saying, line A has an alarm on it. And then they can vote for control of, I'll come and take care of it. Maybe this is getting blasted out to a team of 15 technicians. One of them can vote and say, I'll take care of it. I'm in the area. And then the system can all report back, and everybody knows that, hey, that alarm or that issue has been addressed, resolved, or still active. So Notifier is a great way to help get your maintenance team connected to the systems on the floor and help eliminate a lot of that downtime that may occur from an issue on the floor. We released these panels in April of this year, and we've got Unified Comfort Panel starter kits coming out soon. Now the starter kits will have a panel involved, the software set that would be needed as well. Reach out to your Siemens sales rep or distributor to get in connection with these starter kits to start exploring the capabilities and possibilities with the unified system itself. So we'll keep this posted, and as soon as we get an update to it, we'll put the updated information on here and get this updated. But the Unified Comfort Panel starter kits will be coming soon. And another way I'd like to encourage everyone to stay connected on what's new, what's happening, make sure that you get the updates that are relevant to the unified panels, because V16 was a great release and it's a great platform standard release that we've got now. But we wanted to make sure that the community knows where to go, or when we release something new, let's say it's screen templates for you to help speed your screen development time with the unified systems. We post up links, or we'll send out you an email. So I advise you take a look at the website, go to the website, the Siemens.com WinCC Unified System, register to be part of the community, get those updates, get some videos that help tutorial to get you through some of the high points and get you on the ground running quickly with the unified systems. And I appreciate your time today and taking the time out to listen to the presentation on the WinCC Unified Comfort Panels and WinCC Unified Systems. This was a very, very condensed presentation of the panels themselves. I've got over 300 slides that essentially have details and information amongst these. I do urge you to reach out to your Siemens sales rep or your distributor to get more information on this if you need to get more information on the unified system solutions and everything else. But we'd also like to hear from you as well. We can only take so much assumption to figure out what you may want to hear about or what to know about from the Siemens portfolio. We have some examples on that we have the standard comfort panels, the mobile panels, our pro panels being IP65 units, and then our special requirement panels. These are all ideas of things that we'd like to talk to you about and explore, but we'd also like to hear from you. So please reach out to us and give us an idea of what you want to hear about, and we'll work to get that kind of podcast put together so to keep you more informed on these little sessions that we've got.
And Ramey, I want to thank you for taking the time out to do this. I know you just said you took a very large presentation and squeezed it down into a very small overview for our listeners and viewers, and I really appreciate that. But what they probably don't know is that before you did this, you spent an hour with me answering all my questions on everything in this presentation. So I really appreciate you taking the time with me as well as with our audience.
Anytime, Shawn. It's always a great time to talk to somebody and get you informed and up to date on the new products that we've got. We're very excited about this new product line and the direction that it's taking our HMI business.
Awesome. Thanks again.
All right. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed that episode. I know I really learned a lot, and I really want to just thank Ramey again for taking time out of his busy day to bring us all up to speed on their brand new product line, the Siemens Unified Comfort Panels. With that said, if you have a suggestion for a topic for us to cover in upcoming episodes of the Automation Podcast, feel free to send them directly to me at podcast@theautomationblog.com. And if you'd like to support my work and help the show keep going, you can do so over at patreon.com/automation. With a small monthly pledge, you'll unlock insider news and all kinds of special perks in appreciation for your support. And with that, that's the end of this episode. I want to thank you all for watching. And I want to wish you all a very safe, happy, and healthy week. And until next time, my friends, peace.